Hey Pop, listen, I'm putting this video together for you on that rigging that I do that you were asking me about. So I basically have some line right here, and I'm just using any line. I mean, you can do it with any line, but I actually take the line and I make a loop at the end like this, and then I actually tie this loop in a knot just around my finger, so that the loop comes through like this, all right? And that's at the end of the line. I take that loop here, and I take my weight right here, and I take the loop through the weight like this, all right? So I pull the loop through the weight right here, and then I take the weight and put it through the loop like this, so that I pull the rest of the line out and the weight is hanging from the end of the line. All right, I'll do that again. All right, so I'm gonna take this loop that I tied a knot with at the end of the line, and I put the end of the loop through the hole in the weight. Then I put the weight itself through the loop, and then I pull to make it tight on the weight. That way the weight is at the end of the line. If there's any hang up or anything in the water, it gets hung up and the weight can break off and not the hook. All right. So from there, I come out about however long you want away from your weight. I come out maybe, let's say, a foot, or yeah, about a foot from the line, and then I go straight from the line and I do the same thing. I make two loops. I make one loop the same way I just did at the end. Let me start over. I just make a loop in the line, all right? And I'm just gonna tie that around my finger. All right, so you see that's a loop right there. And then I do it again, and I just add another knot to that loop, or to, you know, right above that loop, so that once you get a bite, if that line starts to pull, it pulls one knot to the other. So you have two knots at the end of that loop, and that's actually sitting on your line. All right, you see that? And I got the weight at the end, you know, and your pole is down on this end. All right, so at that loop, I always tie a swivel. I tie a swivel hook, and I just do the same thing I did with the weight. I take that loop and I put it through the end of the swivel right there, and then I take the swivel itself and put it through the loop, and I pull so that the end of that, at the end of the swivel, it pulls down and is holding onto the end of the swivel. All right, see how that is? You can actually pull that knot at the end of the swivel like that, so that it's looking like that. All right, so you have the swivel hanging right there. So now you have your swivel, you have your weight, and then on this swivel, you can just put any hook you want to, a treble hook, a regular hook, and your bait, and you're ready to go. Now, you know, with this rigging, like we talked about the last time we talked, you can actually put two hooks on this line if you want, two baits on this line, you know, if you just want to go out like that. I remember Mr. James, I believe, had it hooked up somehow like that, and he'd catch two crappie at a time. So it's up to you how you want to do it. I usually just do one, especially with catfish rigging. And I'm sitting here with my hook here and my weight here and ready to go. All right, so hopefully this helps. All right.